Hey folks, I welcome you all to this live session. In today's session, what we'll do is we'll look at how Python is used at different job roles. Now, before we start off, just give me a quick confirmation if you can hear me properly and if you can see me properly. And if everything is perfect, we can start off with today's session. Now, I see that there are 14 people right now who have joined in. I believe other people will trickle in slowly. So, whoever is watching right now, just give me a quick confirmation. Now, in the meanwhile, what I shall do is I will guide you through this free learning platform called as Great Learning Academy. And as you see over here, Great Learning Academy, you have multiple courses with respect to different domains. So you have courses with respect to data science, ML, AI, cloud computing, big data, and so on. Now, if you complete any of these courses, you will get a course completion certificate. You can take that course completion certificate and add that onto your resume or onto your LinkedIn page, and that would be very helpful to you guys. And also, if you do want to learn through an app, so let's say if you do not have a desktop or a computer with you during this lockdown, and if you want to upskill with respect to all of these domains on your phone, we also have the Great Learning app. So you can just directly go ahead and download the app, and you'll be able to learn from learn all of these skills from the phone itself. So you'll be able to find the link of Great Learning Academy as well as the link of the GL app in the chat. So someone from my team would be putting that app over there. Okay, so I've got a couple of yeses from Anil and Rajiv. So to all of the folks who have just joined in, just give me a quick confirmation if, again, all of you can hear me and see me as well. Right, so also I see that there's a watching of 47. If all of you could quickly hit the like button, that would be, appreciated a lot. And also if you haven't hit subscribe to our channel, I'd request you guys to hit the subscribe button and also hit the bell icon, as whenever we are uploading new tutorials or whenever we take a live session, you will be notified immediately. So go ahead and do hit that subscribe button and also like our video. So now what we are going to do is we'll look at one of the most important application of Python, which is data science or data analytics. And we've got a couple of data sets over here and a couple of code files. So what I shall do is I have this data set called as consumer credit risk. And let me actually go ahead, and what I'll do is I will clear the output so that I can properly guide you guys on what exactly is happening over here and what exactly we are doing over here. Now, whenever we talk about Python, one of the major applications of Python is in the field of data science. And now there'd be a lot of things in the finance domain itself where Python can be used. And one of those is credit risk. Now, what exactly is credit risk? So let's say if someone is taking a loan from the bank, then the bank would have to identify if this person is able to pay the loan back or not. So this is what is known as credit risk. So you have a lot of loan defaulters. So loan defaulters are basically those people who are, who won't be able to take a loan, but then again, they won't be able to pay the loan back. Now, as a bank, you'd have to be very careful on whom to give the loan and whom you should not. Now, I hope you guys have the context of this. So Govind Prasad is asking, is this course paid or free? So whatever you see on Great Learning Academy, that is absolutely free. And whatever I'm teaching right now is absolutely free because you guys are on YouTube right now. So Govind Prasad, everything is free on Great Learning Academy. Now what we shall do is we will import all of the required libraries for today's session. So we would need NumPy, Matplotlib, Pandas, and sklearn. Now NumPy, it stands for numerical Python, and whenever we'd have to do basic operations on some arrays, we would need NumPy. Then we have Pandas, which is a library used for data manipulation and data wrangling. So if you'd want to perform basic exploratory data analysis, then Pandas should be your go-to language in Python. Apart from that, we've got two visualization libraries over here. One is Matplotlib and one is Seaborn. So you can consider Matplotlib to be the base visualization library, and on Matplotlib we have another visualization library called as Seaborn. So we have imported these two, and let's say if I would want to do some sort of if I'd want to implement ML algorithm, I would need the sklearn library as well. So sklearn stands for scikit-learn, and this library provides us all of the basic algorithms that are required. So I'll just hit on run over here. Now since I've just opened up my Jupyter notebook, this will just take a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes for all of these libraries to load up. In the meanwhile, I'll again just go to the chat and see what are you guys asking over here. So folks, I want this session to be very interactive. If you have any questions or any suggestions, keep putting them up in the chat window and I shall take them parallelly. Now, I want this to be sort of a Q&A thing where you guys are asking me all of the questions and I am answering them as well. I do not want this to be a one-way traffic sort of thing where it's only me speaking and you guys are only listening. So if you have any doubts or any queries, please put them up in the chat window right now. So we have imported all of the required libraries over here. Now after this, what I shall do is I will load up the file as well. So we've got a file called as default.csv. I am loading this file and I am storing this in an object called as default. Now what I am doing over here is I'm looking at the first 10 records of the CSV file. So by default, actually, if I would want to look at the first 5 records, I'll just have default.head. And these are the first 5 records which are present over here. So we've got default column, student column, balance column, and income column. Let's understand all of these columns. So we've got the default column, which would just tell you if the person who has taken the loan is he a defaulter or not. So no would mean that the person is not a defaulter, and yes would mean that the person is a defaulter. Then we've got the student column over here. This basically tells you if the person who has taken the loan is a student or not. Then we've got balance, which basically stands for outstanding balance. So here you would see that I'm not really sure if the outstanding balance is in rupees or in dollars. So we'll just take as some unit of currency. So here the outstanding balance is 729 for this person. Here the outstanding balance is 817. Here it's 1073, and it so goes on. Then we have the income. So here this person, it seems that the income is 44,361. Here it seems that this person's income is 12,106. This person's income is 31,761, and so on. So I have looked at the first 5 records of this. Then I shall also look at the shape of this data frame. So default.shape, and this gives me the shape to be equal to 10,004, which would mean that there are 10,000 records and 4 columns. So as you see, there are 4 columns and there are 10,000 records as well. Now 10,000 records would mean that there are so basically there are 10,000 people who have taken the loan, and we have information for all of these 10,000 people over here. Anil is asking, please help 2 suggestions to make a business report on the CSV file datasets. Anil, your question I'm not really able to understand properly. If you could elaborate it. So when you say how to make a business report on this, do you want to make a visualization, or do you want to create a dashboard or something? Is that what you want to do? So if you want to create a visualization or a dashboard, then what you'd have to do is you'd have to use a BI tool called as Tableau. And Tableau is one of the most widely used BI tools in the market right now. So if you'd want to create a stunning dashboard or a stunning visualization, I'd suggest take this data set and make those visualizations with Tableau directly. Mohammed is saying, I'm a beginner at learning data analytics with Python. I've never studied statistics. Can you give an idea how much of the statistics I need to learn to work in the field of data analysis? That's a really good question. Now, when you talk about data analytics, so what you're doing is mostly exploratory data analytics. You need to know some basics of statistics. So also here you'd have to understand the difference between the data analytics job role and the data science job role. So in the data analytics job role, what you're doing is mostly coding. What you're doing is mostly exploratory data analysis. So you're finding out information in the data which you have, which is basically hidden information. So you just have to dig through your data to find out that information. But what you're doing in data science is you're actually applying some of these ML algorithms, such as linear regression, logistic regression, and so on. That is where you need in-depth knowledge of statistics. So for data analytics job profile, you'd probably need basic understanding of stats, such as measures of central tendency, measures of deviation. Then you've got a bit of hypothesis testing. But when it comes to, let's say, your core data science roles, you would have to properly understand all of your ML algorithms. You'd have to understand about probability distribution. You'd have to understand about normal distribution, all of these different factors which come in. So for now, let's just say if you're looking at the data analytics profile, focus on the basic stuff. I'll also guide you through the great learning page over here. So here we've got all of these different tracks again, and in this data science track you would see that we've got the statistical methods for decision making and probability for data science. Probably you can learn these two, and also this one over here, basics of exploratory data analysis, and you can get started with the basics of statistics. Now let's say if you do want to improve your expertise in stats, then you can go to this machine learning page, and here you have all of these comprehensive ML algorithms. You've got supervised learning, you've got unsupervised learning, you've got other stats for machine learning as well. So these are some things which you can take up from great learning. So we have looked at the shape of this data frame. Now what we will do is we will also understand some metrics of these individual columns, just the numerical columns over here. So we've got two numerical columns. One is the balance column, then we've got the income column, and if I have to properly understand this, I can just use a describe method. So what I've done over here is I've used default.describe, and as you see, I've got these two columns. One is the balance column, then I've got the income column. Now let's say if I want to find out what is the minimum outstanding balance which someone has. And as you see, it is very clear that the minimum outstanding balance which someone has is 0. And over here, the minimum income which someone has is 771. Now again, let's look at the maximum balance. Here you would see that the maximum balance, maximum outstanding balance which someone has is 2,654, and the maximum income which someone is getting is 73,554. Now similarly, we've got the average value, which is mean. So out of these 10,000 people who have taken up the loan, it would seem that the average outstanding balance of all of these folks is around 835. And similarly, the average income of all of the folks who have taken up the loan is around 33,516. So this just gives you a base idea of, how much these guys are taking up the loan, how much is their income, and how much outstanding balance do they have in their accounts. So folks, just give me a quick minute. I just have to take a call. I'll actually be back. ఇచ్చేసాను నేను. Hey folks, just give me a quick confirmation if you can, hear me. I just had to take up a call. Can you hear me properly? I'm just opening up the chat over here. So sorry for that. I just had to attend to something. Also, let me just take up a second again and let me close the door. I apologize for this again. Sorry. Session తీసుకుంటున్నాను. Sorry folks, just give me a minute again. I would be back. లైవ్ సెషన్ జరుగుతుంది అక్కడ అందరూ వింటున్నారు. Hey, sorry for this again. So I apologize for this distraction again. I just had to attend to other things. So just give me a quick confirmation again if everything is proper. I shall start off with the session immediately. Nikolai is asking, great learning, directing to my great learning. Is it because of my country localization? Could you elaborate your question, please? Because I'm not able to follow what exactly you're saying. Nikolai is asking. Okay, so I see that it's proper in my phone chat. That's good. If all of you can also give me a quick confirmation. Anand is saying I can hear you. That's awesome. Kangas is asking, आपका नाम क्या है? मेरा नाम भरनी है. Game Unboxing is asking, can I become a programmer and get job, but I'm a student of physics? Well, now, even though if your undergraduation is in physics, it's never too late to learn coding, because coding is something which is used in all aspects of our life and across different industries. Now, what I'd like to suggest you is focus on your undergraduation properly. But apart from that, also, what you can do is take up other, take up maybe courses on great learning itself, or make sure that you spend in at least 2 to 3 hours of your time every single day dedicatedly on something. So what you can do is probably, let's say, if you do want to pick up Python, you can just go to Great Learning Academy over here. And here, as you see, we've got all of these, again, different domains. Now you can pick up any language that you want. So let's say if I open up IT and software over here, as you see, we've got Java, we've got Python, we've got front-end development, Excel, SQL, and so on. Now, so what I'd suggest is spend 2 hours every day, and also, as you see, the course duration is from 1.5 hours to 3 hours. So all you have to do is dedicate 2 hours of your life every single day, and I'm pretty sure you will easily pick up any of these programming languages. And the best part of picking up programming is, let's say if you know one programming language, it is very easy to pick up any other programming language. DUCST tutorials is asking, what is the difficulty of machine learning course? It's for so there is a track over here. So as you see, so this is the beginner level, basics of machine learning, data visualization with Python. And as you see, we've got all of these different categories over here, and as you progress, the difficulty level increases. So it starts from the basic level, and it keeps on increasing. So, yeah, as I was saying, this is what we are doing over here. Now, keep putting up your questions, and I'll just go back over here and just continue our session again. Now, we have looked at this. Now, what I'd want to do is I'd want to make a visualization for box plot, and so what I'm doing over here is I'm making a box plot for the balance column, and then I'm also making a box plot for the income column. So I start off by yeah, what am I doing over here? Yeah. So so first we start off by making a figure. We set the figure size to be equal to 15, 5. So here 15 is the width, 5 is the length of the figure, and then we have a subplot which we set to be equal to 1 to 1. Now here the 1 to 1 would basically mean that we are making a subplot where we have one row and two columns, and this is basically, so 1 and 2 here indicates that this is the first subplot, this is the second subplot, and here I am making the box plot for the balance column in our default data frame. Similarly over here I've got box plot and I have the income column over here. Now let me go ahead and run this. So as you see, we have been able to make this box plot right now, and yeah, so here as you see we have um, yep, sorry, my mind is just blanking out today. So what we've got is two box plots. This is the box plot for the balance column, and over here we, so folks, give me a confirmation again if you can see me now and if you can hear me properly. There's been a power cut at my place. Just give me a quick confirmation again. Is everything proper? So as everything is fine, I can continue with this session. It's buffering, yes, because I'm connected through my mobile hotspot, so this would buffer a bit. Abhishek is saying I can hear you. So DUCST tutorials is asking, last month I was sitting in TCS interview. They were asking questions about my projects on Python, and the interviewer said according to him Java is far better than Python. Is it true? Well, you would have to look at the context over here. You can't really say that one language is better than other, and especially when it comes to Java versus Python. Now, whenever you talk about Java versus Python, their applications are really different. So if we talk about Java, Java is mostly used for full stack development and for your SDE roles. So if you are looking for those SDE roles where, let's say, more of implementation of DS and algo is required, you should probably go with Java. But if you're looking for data science interviews, I would recommend you to I would recommend you to go with Python rather than Java. So yeah, so it basically depends on what is it that you would want to do. Now when you talk about far better in terms of analytics, Python is far better than Java. But let's say if it's if it's SDE, or let's say if it's general purpose development, then I wouldn't say Java is far better, but it's better than Python because Java is much faster than Python. And the reason why Java is much faster than Python is because Java, it has both an interpreter and a compiler, and also you're compiling. So a compiler is normally faster than an interpreter, and also your Python is dynamically typed and Java is statically typed, which would mean that all of the type checking, all of the checking of the errors is done during compilation itself and not during execution, and which is one of the reasons why Java is a bit more time for execution. So and also when we talk about this time complexity, space complexity, so this is where Java sort of is ahead when compared to Python. But let's say if it's an analytics job which you are doing, then Python far outweighs Java in that respect. So there might be a bit of buffering. I do want you guys to bear through this. Now, what we've done is we have made two box plots over here, and after this I'll also make a count plot, and this count plot is let me run this again, and as you see this count plot, it basically gives me the distribution for the students column. And what I have is as you can see over here, out of the 10,000 people who have taken up the loan, 7,000 of them are not students and 3,000 of them are students. So it would seem that most of the people who have taken up the loan are not students, because obviously if you'd have to take a loan, you'd have to pay it back, and as a student you don't really have an income mechanism. So yeah, this is something which only a non-student over here can do. Now, similarly, what we are doing over here is we are making count plots for student, default, and income, and we are putting up all of those three in the same, in the same geometry or in the same box over here. And so all of these are basically subplots, and if we have to create a subplot, I can just use plt.subplot over here. So as you see here, 131, 132, 133. So this 1 3 basically means this is first. So we have one row and three columns. Right. So as you see, this is only one row. We've got three columns over here. And apart from this, what you have is the index number. So this is index number 1, this is index number 2, and this is index number 3. Now, so for index number 1, we have made a what are we doing over here? We have made a count plot for the student column here, and it's very clear that 7,000 of them are not students, 3,000 of them are students. Here what we've done is we have made a count plot for the default column, and what this tells us is out of the 10,000 people who have taken up this loan, majority of them are not defaulters. So more than 9,000 of them would be able to pay back their loan, and only around 300 odd or 400 odd would not be able to pay back their loan. Then we've got this particular box plot for the income, and what this tells you is basically a 5-number summary. So your minimum income of someone is less than 1,000. Your maximum income which someone has is greater than 70,000, and then you have the median value of income, which is around tutorial on YouTube enough. Well, that should be enough. It will get you with all of the basics of Python. It will get you started with the fundamentals, then you learn all of the libraries essential. So, and we also have a couple of projects on EDA as well. So with respect to data science, that will definitely help you out. So we have looked at this. Now after this, what I'd want to do is I'd want to do a bit of visualization as well. So for visualization, what I'll do is I'll just open up this PPT called as Python for non-programmers. Let me just wait for this to open properly. I'll maximize this and let me open up the visualization page. So what we'll do right now is we'll do a bit of visualization, and we'll be working with this Matplotlib library. And over here, let me what I'll do is I'll open up a new Python notebook, and there'd be many scenarios where, let's say, you've done your analysis, but after you do your analysis, you'd have to make a plot for the same. So when you'd have to make a plot, you would have to work with some visualization libraries. So in the previous one, we had worked with we had worked with Seaborn. Now we'll work with Matplotlib. So here I'll just write down from Matplotlib import pyplot as plt. Let me hit on run. So we have imported this. Now what we are doing over here is we are creating a simple line plot. And to create this simple line plot, what I'd have to do is I'd have to start off by importing Matplotlib, which I've already done. And to create the data, I would also require the NumPy library. So let me also do that. So here I'll write down import NumPy as NP. And after this, what I'm doing is I am creating two variables over here. So I have one variable called as x, I have another variable called as y. So x is equal to np dot range 1 to 11, y is equal to 2 into x. So this np dot a range basically means that we are creating an array where we have values starting from 1 and going on till 10. And this we will store in this variable called as x. After that, I would need to map something on the y-axis as well. And since I would have to map something on the y-axis, I have y is equal to 2 times of x. And here, as you see, all of the values are double of the values of x. And I just go ahead and make a line plot between these two. So here I have plt.plot x comma y plt.show. And here this is what I have on the x-axis, this is what I have on the y-axis. And we have been able to make this plot. Now, I've imported this. Let me just create my variable. Here I'll have x is equal to np dot a range, and inside this I'll just write down 1 comma 11. Let me hit on run. Now let me also print out the value of x, and as you see, I've been able to create an array which has all of the values starting from 1 going on till 10. Here, when it comes to np.a range, you'd have to remember that your second value is exclusive, your first value is inclusive. So your values start from 1, but it does not go till 11. So 11 is exclusive. So it is n minus 1. So the values will start from 1, they'll go till 10. And that is what we've been able to print out over here. Then let me go ahead and create another array. So this will be y is equal to 2 times of x. I'll hit on run. And let me run y over here. And as you see, so we've got all of these values where this is basically 2 times of your original array. And let me go ahead and just create the plot. So for this, I'll write down plt.plot, and inside this, what I'd want to do is just pass in x and y, and I'll have plt.show, and I'll hit on run, and this is what we have. So on the x-axis, as you see, we have the value starting from 0 going on till 10, and on the y-axis, we have the value starting from 0 going on till 20. And this is what we get over here. Now let me see if there are any questions which I can take up from the chat. Abhishek is asking, cybersecurity roadmap per video bhi bana dijiye. Sure, that is something which we actually have in mind, and that is something which we will do. Lakshmi is asking, may I know how much the monthly subscription of Great Learning is? So whatever you find over here on GLA, this is absolutely free. You do not have to pay a single penny, right? So all of these courses which you see over here, data science, ML, AI, cloud computing, these are free, and these are more than 1,000 hours of content which you can see over here, and you have 100 plus courses as well. And well, as I said, so this is absolutely free, and we are doing just to make sure that you have quality education. Kashyap Pandu is asking, please make some live sessions on projects of AI, ML, DS, and DL. Yes, that is something which we shall definitely do. So let me go back to what we were doing. So what we've done over here is we've created a simple line plot. Now after this, what I'd want to do is, let's say I'd want to add the x-axis label, the y-axis label, and the line plot. So here, let's say if I'd want to add any labels or title, I'll just have plt.x label. Here I'll write down x label, plt.y label, I'll set this down, plt.title, I'll write this down over here. Let me go back, and here what I will do is I will have plt.x label, and inside this I'll just set the x label to be equal to x-axis, Then I'll have y label. Inside this I'll just set to be equal to y-axis, and then I'll set the title plt dot title. Sure, I'll just go and set this as my first line plot. I'll hit on run. We seem to have an error. Let me just see. So here the spelling is incorrect. So this has to be plt dot label. Again, I'll hit on run. And as you see, this is the result which we've got. X-axis, Y-axis, my first line plot. Ankit is asking, is there any GitHub? No, we do not have any GitHub link for the same, but what you can do is, let's say if you want the code files or whatever is being taught over here, you can just go to GLA. So whatever course you enroll for, you will definitely get the PPT and the code file for whatever course you've enrolled in. We do not have a separate GitHub account over here. So we have added the X label, Y label, and also the title. Now after this, what I'd want to do is I'd want to add a color to the line and also change the line width and also change the line style. So to add color, all I can do is just use the color parameter over here, and as you see, I've set color to be equal to G, and line style it is equal to a colon, and line width is equal to 2. So color, as you see, as soon as I give it to be green, it has changed line style. So initially, if you go back, you would see that this is a solid line. So now that I've changed the solid line to a dashed line over here, and the line width has also increased. So now what I'll do over here is, this is our main command, which is plt.plot. Inside this, I'll just set color to be equal to, let me give in red color over here. Let me set the line style as well. Let me write this down properly. Line style, I'll give in a colon over here, and after this let me also set the line width, and I'll set the line width to be equal to 5. And when I hit on run, this is the result which we get. So as you see, I have changed the color of the line, I have changed the line style, and I've also changed the line width. Now let me head back and see what else is there over here. So we'll skip this, we'll look at the basic ones for today. Now what I'd want to do is I'd want to make a bar plot. So to make this bar plot, what I'll do is I'll create a dictionary, and in this dictionary I have names of some students, and I also have the marks which they've scored. So here it would seem that we've got 3 students, Bob, Matt, and Sam. So Bob has scored 87 marks, Matt has scored 56 marks, and Sam has scored 27 marks. Now what I'd want to do is make a bar plot for these students along with their marks. Now whenever we talk about a bar plot, you'd have to understand that this is normally used for categorical columns. When I say categorical columns, you basically have different levels, and these are not continuous values. So here we have taken the names of the students and we have mapped them on the x-axis. We have taken the marks of the students and we have mapped them on the y-axis. Now, once I create this dictionary, I want to extract the keys and values separately, because the keys contain all of the names. So here I've written student.keys. Along with this, I've extracted all of the names and I store that in a new object called as names. Similarly, what I shall do is I have extracted all of the values from over here and I store that in this object called as values. Now, once that is done, I'll go ahead and make a bar plot. And making a bar plot is extremely simple. I'll just have plt.bar. Inside this, I'll pass in names and values. Then I'll have plt.show. And this is the result which I get. Now, what I want to do is make the same thing. So here I'll have a dictionary called as D1, and here let me give in Bob. Let's say Bob has scored only 12 marks. Then I'll have someone called as Raj and I'll give him 87 marks, and then I'll have someone called as, let's just call him Enrique, and let's give him 50 marks exactly. So now that this is set, I would want to I'd want to actually extract the values from over here. So first I'll have d1 dot keys, and with the help of d1 dot keys, let me just run this and show you what I'll get. So when I have d1 dot keys, I'll get the names of all of the students. Now I would want to convert this into a list. So let me cut this out over here and let me paste it inside the list, and I will store it in a new object and call it as names again. Let me print out names. So we've got list of names right now. Now after this, what I'd want to do is I'd want to extract the marks of the students as well. So here I'll write down d1 dot values, and after this I will extract the same. Let me cut this entire thing. So it should be d1 dot values, and I need a list. Again over here, let me cut this out. Let me put it inside this. Let me run this now. And I will store this in a new object, and I shall call that as marks. And let me also print out marks over here. So we've got the names, we've got the marks. Now all I need to do is make the bar plot. So I'll have plt.bar. So first I'll have the categorical values. So categorical values are names. Then I'll have the numerical values, which are marks. Let me hit on run over here. And as you see, we have created this bar plot where on the x-axis we've got the names of the students. On the y-axis we've got the marks of the students. Now let me go ahead and also add the title, the x-axis label, and the y-axis label for the same. So I'll write down plt.title, and I'll set the title as, let me just write this as grade sheet. Then I'll have plt.xlabel, and inside this I'll just call it, what shall we call this? We'll call this names of students, and then I'll have plt.ylabel. Inside this I'll write down, what do we have on the y-axis? We've got marks. So let me just write this down, and then I'll just have plt.show as well, so that I do not have this metadata, and I'll hit on run. And as you see, I've got the names. So I've got basically the x-axis label, the y-axis label, and the title as well over here. Nikolai is saying I'm now able to access in the domain of great learning instead of com domain with the help of VPN. That's great, Nikolai. So there's a question which is basically stating, please tell me what kind of job course you prefer for MCOM fresher while joining an IT or software or hardware. When you say that you're an MCOM fresher, you would have proper understanding of accounting and finance. Since you already have a proper understanding of accounting and finance, I'd probably suggest you to go for the business analytics roles. And in the business analytics roles, you'll be dealing with the decision making side as well as the the coding side. Now, since you already have one part of it covered, what you have to do is just pick up the coding side as well. And that is something which I believe if you dedicate 2 hours of your time dedicatedly, that is something which you can definitely pick up. So my suggestion would be for you to focus on these business analyst roles, or wherever you have finance and and tech, where you have the combination of finance and tech. That is something which I would suggest you to go ahead. So now that we are done with this, Amit Sharma is saying I've completed PGDM and I have 1.5 years of experience in operation and supply chain. If I complete this course, can I get a job in data analytics field? Now, when you talk about completing a course and getting a job, all of these courses, they'll help you to upskill yourself. But whenever you talk about a job, that is totally dependent on you. And that is because you would have to keep working on yourself. So here what we've done is, Here you have industry experts teaching these courses. But if you do not practice by yourself, let's say, you if it's Python for ML, let's say you've seen this 1 hour course, but after that you do not put in any effort by yourself. So you do not practice any of the Python syntax, and you do not work on any open source projects, then there is no use of it. So you'd have to go ahead and apply for those jobs. What you'd have to do is work on a lot of open source projects, participate in a lot of contests or hackathons, and that is when you'll improve your expertise, and that is when you'll be job ready. Right? So this is like a foundation for you to get started in this field. Now, once you have that foundation ready, next it would totally depend on you how much effort you're putting in so that you get that dream job of yours. So we are done with this. Now what we shall do is we have added these. Let me also add change the color over here, and instead of horizontal bar plot, instead of a vertical bar plot, I can also have a horizontal bar plot. Now let me go back to this, and here what I shall do is this is my main command over here, plt.bar. I'll set color to be equal to red again. Let me hit on run, and as you see, I've been able to change the color of all of these bars. Now I have something called as a horizontal bar plot. So in horizontal bar plot, all we are doing is these bars would be on your y-axis rather than on your x-axis. Now again, you see that the names. So right now on the y-axis you have names of the students. On the x-axis you have the marks of the students. So someone had actually asked how to interchange the x-axis and the y-axis. So this is how you can do it. Right? You can just switch from bar to bar h, and you have these bars over here. Now I'll just change this label appropriately. So this time the x label would be marks of students. Let me make that change properly over here. Let me go back, and this time on the y-axis I have names of the students. Let me also set that properly over here. Let me hit on run, and this is the result which we get. Now after this, what we'd want to do is we'd also want to make a scatter plot. So scatter plot is normally used when you're trying to understand the relationship between two numerical entities. So on the x-axis you have a numerical entity, also on the y-axis you have a numerical entity. Now here I have two lists, x and a. So x have certain values, a I have certain values. Now what I'm doing is I just have plt.scatter, and I pass in both x and a. And here, as you see, as so let's say if I take this particular value over here. So here the value of x is 20, the value of a is 1. So mapping a onto y-axis, and I get a point for the same over here. Similarly, this is the point for 40 and 2. So right, we have 40 over here, we have 2 over here. Then as you see, we've got a point for 90 and 2 as well. Then we've got another point for 980 and 3. Then there is a point for 70 and 7. So this point which you see, this is a mark for where your x-axis value is 70 and your y-axis value is 7. So making a scatter plot is very simple. All you do is create two lists, and then inside plt.scatter you pass in both of these lists, and then you use plt.show, and then you get the result. Now let me just go back and make this scatter plot. So I'll have to create two lists over here. I'll have x. Let me just pass in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and then I'll have another variable called as y. Inside this, let me just add in some random values like this. Let's see how many values do I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I would need one more value. Now I have both of these lists ready. So I'll have plt.scatter. Inside this I will pass in x and y. And then I'll have plt.show. I'll hit on run. And as you see, this is the result which I get. So as the x value increases, the y value also increases over here. So what you can basically see is, you've got two set of points, or maybe let's say if you decide to draw a line over here, you'll probably get a straight line like this. You'll also get a straight line like this, and they are both intersecting at one particular point. And that is the sort of inference which you can make from these points over here. So we have made this. Now after this, let's say again, if I would have to change the color, I'll have color, let me just set it to be equal to green. And as you see, all of these have been changed to green. Now similarly, if I would want to change the marker, I'll write down marker and I'll put in a star over here, and again I'll hit on run, and this is the result which we get. So as you see, I've changed the color of all of these markers, and also I've changed the marker. So initially this was a solid circle, I've changed that solid circle to a solid star. I can probably also increase the size of this, so I'll have s to be equal to 5. Let me see what happens. 5 seems to be very less, so I'll make it 50. Let me make it 100 actually, and see what happens now. So now it would seem that, the size of the stars is decent enough. Lakshmi is asking, are there certifications for the courses we complete? Yes, absolutely. So all of these courses which you complete, so as you see over here, you will get a certification like this. So once you complete the course, you would probably have to take a quiz, and once you complete the quiz or the assignment which is given over here, you will get that certificate, right? So as you see, this is what you'll be awarded for each and every course that is over here on Great Learning Academy. Orange Rock Gaming is asking, I want to join as a Python coder. That's really good to know. But when you say join as a Python coder, again, I'd suggest you guys to not just fix to one particular programming language. You would have to decide the domain which you would have to go into, and a programming language is just a tool to implement the things in that particular domain. So let's say if it's data science, then in data science, normally the most widely used programming languages are Python and R. Similarly, let's say if it's if you're looking for those SDE rules, then widely used languages are Java and Python. But apart from that, you would also need to have concrete knowledge of data structures and algorithms as well. So my suggestion to you guys would be do not get fixated on a programming language, but try to figure out what is the domain that you'd want to get into, and on the basis of that you can figure out which language is used over here, and what is it that I'd want to know with respect to this language which will help me to get this particular job. So folks, I guess this would be it from my side for today, and thank you very much. I also apologize for all the hassle in between where I have to get up and go. So